So, my question is, why is this happening? If it was my experience, I would think I would have created happiness and light and beauty and benefit and prosperity and abundance for everybody. I don't think that I would have created, a life full of Fauci and vaccines and the stupidity. It's like the stupidity is off the charts, right? So I have to say, how is this a reflection of me? Because this isn't what I want, this isn't what I choose to experience, and it's not what I'm creating. It is not so much that you have created this experience, it's more of the collective influence of you and the energies that you have fragmented into that you see as other people. It's largely perception, that you perceive all of these different people and experiences which are not pleasurable to you. And yes, they exist in this experience that you're having. However, they are no more real at this moment than another location that you are not at. As Einstein said, it is only when you think about it or you turn your glance to it does it exist, much like the great creator source. Wherever the great creator source turns its glance, suddenly exists, similar to you as humans. So while you're having this experience that is unique to you, and your perception is that there are many, many other people and situations and events and experiences that are occurring outside of you, they're actually not occurring outside of you. You understand? They're actually occurring within your consciousness. So the question you have is, why would I have created something so unpleasant, essentially? For the texture, child. For the texture. If everything was all rainbows and moonbeams, what would you gain from that? It's rainbows and moonbeams where you come from. It's the texture, child. You create this, you and all create this experience just as you choose. It's the texture. It's the up and down. It's the reconnection to the whole that you seek as humans, as humanity, as those having the physical experience. The whole point of coming down here is to go home. The whole point of being in this life experience as a human being is to go home, you see. Not to be lost in the muck and mire of materialism, but to go down into the deepest depths of the pool of density, touch the drain, and then propel oneself back up into the clear blue waters, the clear water springs of heaven, into the clear, cool mists of experience and existence, total consciousness, and all back into the all that is, the one consciousness that looks back upon the face of God. That's the whole point. To experience as deep as you can go in materialism, and deep as you can go in density or darkness, and then to propel oneself back out. That's the whole point. And so while you're having this experience of beauty and connection and moving, emotional, physical feelings of connection, valid answers to your pleas, as you experienced in the hotel room that we do hope you'll make a video about, where we conquered your fears for you, where we sent you on your way with instruction. It is the reconnection, the discovery, the impact, the feeling of being plugged in that you seek as humans when you come down into this density. In fact, those who are addicted seek even stronger the connection. However, their puzzle is that they have gone so far deep into addiction that they do not know how to get back to source. They're lost, they're disoriented. And so their challenge, their puzzle, was much greater than those who just choose to dip down or to go deeper and not go into things like addiction or mental disorders. For in truth, mental disorders and addiction are allowing oneself to be taken over by the dark side. physically and dramatically taken over by the dark side. So those people that have allowed themselves to drop into that depth of darkness are some of the strongest, most spiritual souls that you can ever imagine, simply because they chose a challenge that others would have shied away from, that others have shied away from. It takes a certain strength of character in order to fall into the darkness, to give oneself over to that addictive demons, and then to allow oneself to seek, wander, and then to seek the light. But one must wander in their addiction in order to seek the light, for the light is so dim in that depth. It is still extant, but it is so dim in that depth of density that the addicted must swim towards the light out of the soup of denseness. We hope we have made you understand a little better. So it is an own personal experience, and yet the ascension that you're talking about is a collective experience of everyone that you perceive in this physical experience. Because remember, everybody that you perceive in this physical experience is your own creation. Everyone that you're encountering, everyone that you're discussing, everyone that you're spending time with is a fragment of you. It is a fragment of you having separated at some point in your soul journey. Everything, everyone, every business, every animal, every encounter is a fragment of you designed to help you recollect and come home. So the illness that your cat is dealing with is a recollection of your cat back into your own conscious and physical energy. You understand? No, I don't. I don't understand what that is. What does that mean? Let us say the illness that your cat is apparently dealing with is a mechanism of reconnection for you to bring that part of you that is the cat home, to self, to God. But I've always loved my cat. Isn't that not always bringing him home? He is home in the physical, but it is still a separation. And upon the cat's passing, whenever that is, may not be soon. So, none of the things that are around you, none of the people or animals that are around you actually exist beyond your own thought consciousness. And they all exist and interact within your own thought consciousness. It's all a projection. It looks like it's real. It feels like it's real. The rooster crows, the wind blows, your phone rings, but it's not real. It's a dream. You know how you keep thinking of that television show about the couple that went on a hike and were drugged by spores of a giant mushroom and then lived in the goo of the mushroom that had engulfed their drugged bodies, right? Remember that show? Indeed. Or even like The Matrix. You are living in the suspended animation of the thought or the conscious thought that you are having an earthly experience. What? You are, as a physical body, thinking you are having this very real physical experience, and yet you are not. For consciousness at the level that humanity aspires to, and some of you have reached, cannot come down into physicality. because the density is too low. So you have come down into, your consciousness has descended into a meat suit that is a boat or a car that your consciousness is driving on this plane of existence. However, when you lift your consciousness out, this plane of existence for you ceases to exist. It is an own experience. You are the entire physical world. You are all the people that you see. And we see that your mind goes to these masses of people across the globe. No, there's not masses of people across the globe. There are only the people and things in your experience that you see immediately. The thought of people and masses of people across the globe exists, right? And therefore in your imagination it exists. But it is not necessarily a precursor or an identification. It is simply a thought. We understand this is getting kind of deep. We understand that you're struggling to understand this, but it is essential that you get this information. So your question was, am I really having this experience? Is this, why would I have created this experience? I believe was the question, right? Yes. Indeed, why would I have created this experience? Is it possible to create an experience that's not full of misery and fear and doubt? Again, yes, child, it is, but what's the point of that? You already live that in the total collective consciousness. So you come down here to dive into the depths and to rebound back up and to challenge yourself as to how deep you can go in lost and return home. That is why we say it is important and essential that you recollect all of the pieces of you. And when you tell them, as we said before, I recognize you as a piece of me, I recognize you as a piece of God, come home. You are, in fact, recollecting all of those pieces of you. And should you type that into the post on Facebook, it will too burrow down like a little bug into the psyches of many, many of the consciousnesses that you have created that are represented on Facebook as names and opinions. They don't exist, they're you. They're aspects of your consciousness talking to other aspects of your consciousness. They don't exist. And when they do exist, as Miss Susie and her daughter, they exist as lost and anxious parts of you wanting to come home. And so your efforts for Miss Susie and her little daughter and their land and their animals are a causation for that group of souls, from Miss Susie to the smallest little dog, to come home, to tap them on the shoulder, to say, turn around, look into my eyes, come home. And they do, because they're pieces of you. They're not real. They're aspects of you. You've told them, come home. It is time to round up the livestock. It is time to round up the sheep. It is time to come home. To come into the barn, to be safe, for we are about to move. We are about to ascend. You are having this experience at this moment in order to recollect all of the pieces of you that you see, that you experience. This man next door with his lost love, this man that lives behind you in his lair, they're pieces of you, they're aspects of you, and you're embracing them, you're understanding them, you're bringing them home will advance you and lighten your load and increase your vibration and send you higher and higher into the stratosphere of spirituality, and gradually out of this plane of muck and mire and denseness and into a lighter denseness. One that's not quite so dark, one that's not quite so sad, one that's not quite so burdensome. And as you ascend, you'll notice that your days, your nights, your experiences, and the experiences of those around you, as they are aspects of you, will also improve. And how do you lift your vibration, we hear you ask? Again, we say, simply imagine yourself as a being of conscious light. Remember first that you are a being of conscious light of immense, enormous magnitude, unfathomable largesse, that has only chosen to walk in fingertips. And how do you lift your vibration, we hear you ask? Again, we say, simply imagine yourself as a being of conscious light. Remember first that you are a being of conscious light of immense, enormous magnitude, unfathomable largesse, that has only chosen to walk in fingertips in the density that you're experiencing via this meat suit. All of this will make so much more sense when you hear it all together in total. What you're hearing now are the words that are tumbling out of your lips, largely beyond your control, of a message that we're trying to explain to you in your query as you rose this morning to your kitty being ill, the prospect of your kitty transitioning, and the feelings of your dog and yourself of losing, or as we see it, gaining this aspect of yourself back. What will be, will be. It's the cat's choice. The cat is you. The cat has its own consciousness. It's a fragment, just like you are. Allow the cat to make its own conscious choice. Maybe it wants to come home to you. Maybe it wants to dwell in your vibration. Maybe it chooses to have this exciting adventure of a material life a little bit longer. Allow the cat to choose. It will all make sense when you hear it. Know, child, that we are here. Know, child, that there are many, many of us, and we speak to you collectively and sometimes individually, as Serapis Bey, as the collective for humanity, or as your higher self.